The night was silent. No wind moved through the forest and no bird sang. Only the sound of insects filled the air. Then, without warning, a light tore across the sky. It was not a star, not a falling rock. It was something different, something alive. The light shook the ground when it struck the earth far from the nearest village. The trees trembled as if they were afraid. A man named Daniel saw it happen. He was a traveler, a soldier once, now only a wanderer who liked to walk alone in the woods. His life was simple. Quiet days, quiet nights. But tonight was not quiet. The strange crash pulled him forward. Curiosity mixed with fear in his chest. Should he turn back? Or should he follow the light? He chose to follow. Daniel walked carefully between the trees. Smoke rose in the distance. The air smelled of fire and metal, sharp and strange. His boots sank into soft soil as he stepped closer. When he reached the clearing, his eyes grew wide. Before him was no plane, no helicopter. It was a craft he had never seen before. Dark silver glowing lines running along its surface, broken open as if the earth itself had swallowed it. He froze. Inside the broken craft was movement. A hand, thin, long, not human, grasped the edge. Daniel's breath caught. Slowly a figure pulled itself out. A woman, but not like any woman he had ever seen. Her skin was pale with a silver glow, her hair black as night, her eyes shining faint blue even in the darkness. She was beautiful, but alien. Daniel stepped back, his hand instinctively reaching for the small knife on his belt. He did not speak.
He only watched.
The woman stumbled forward, weak, her body trembling. Her clothes were torn, burned from the crash. She fell to her knees, then she looked at him. "Don't leave me," she whispered. Her voice was broken as if each word cost her strength. "I'll give you what no white woman ever could." Daniel froze again. The words cut through the silence like a blade. He could not understand. What did she mean? Who was she? Before he could answer, she collapsed against the ground. Her breathing was fast, shallow. Daniel hesitated. Every part of him said this was dangerous. This was not human. But another part of him, deep inside, could not walk away. He stepped closer, crouched beside her. Her skin was cold, almost icy. She looked at him again, her blue eyes glowing faint in the shadows. "They will come," she whispered. "They will find me. And if they find me, they will destroy this world." Daniel's heart pounded. His mind was racing. Was she mad? Was this real? Yet the craft behind her was proof. This was no dream. He lifted her gently, though her body felt strange, lighter than it should. She gasped in pain but did not resist. Daniel carried her toward his small cabin deeper in the woods. Each step felt heavier than the last. Not because of her weight, but because of the fear inside him. The forest around him seemed to change. Every sound became sharper, every shadow darker. He felt eyes on him, though no one was there. The alien woman clutched weakly at his arm, as if afraid he might vanish. When he reached his cabin, he laid her on his bed. She looked out of place there. Something from the stars lying in a wooden room built by human hands. Daniel lit a lamp, its glow soft against the night. She opened her eyes again. "You saved me," she said quietly. Daniel did not answer. His mind was too full of questions. Who was she? What did she mean by her strange words? Why him, of all people? As he turned to look out the window, he saw something that froze his blood. In the distance, far above the trees, small red lights moved slowly across the sky. They were searching, hunting. The alien woman saw them too. Her face filled with fear. "They are here," she whispered. Daniel gripped the edge of the window. He did not know what was coming, but he knew one thing with certainty. His life would never be the same again. The cabin was quiet, but Daniel could not rest. The strange woman lay on his bed, her breathing soft but uneven. The faint blue glow from her skin lit the wooden walls. He had seen many things in his life, wars, battles, men turning against each other, but never anything like this. He sat in the old wooden chair near the bed, his knife still in his hand, his eyes fixed on her. She was not human. Every part of her body whispered that truth. Yet she looked fragile, weak, almost human enough to pity. Hours passed. The night stretched long. Outside, the forest moved with whispers, branches swaying, leaves brushing. And above, those red lights still scanned the sky, moving slowly like predators searching for prey. Finally, the woman's eyes opened. Blue light flickered in them, dim but alive. She looked at him for a long moment as if studying his soul. Then she spoke, her voice still weak but steady. "You wonder who I am?" she said softly. Daniel did not answer. He kept silent. She tried to sit up, pain flashing across her face. Daniel moved closer without thinking, steadying her shoulder. Her skin was cold like ice touched by fire. "My name has no sound in your language," she said, "but you may call me Sira." "Sira," Daniel repeated slowly. The name felt strange in his mouth, but it fit her. She nodded once. Then her eyes hardened, sharp as a blade. "I should not be here, my people." "They will not forgive this. If they find me, they will kill me, and they will kill you too." Daniel frowned. "Why are they looking for you?" Her gaze shifted toward the ceiling as if she could see through wood and sky. "Because I left them. I betrayed them." Daniel's grip tightened on his knife. Betrayed? The word carried weight. He did not like the sound of it. Sira leaned closer, her eyes glowing brighter. "I came here for you. For your kind. You do not understand what danger is coming. My people look at your world and see only weakness. They see slaves, not free men. They are planning to take Earth, to strip it of everything. But I know something they fear. Something only you have." Daniel's chest tightened. He wanted to ask what she meant, but her hand touched his arm before he could speak. Her touch was light, almost trembling. "I offer you something," she whispered. "Something no woman of your race could ever give you. Knowledge, power, the secret to fight them." Daniel pulled his arm back. "Why me?" he asked sharply, her eyes locked on his, cold but desperate. "Because you are human, a man. Your body carries strength my people cannot understand. I cannot explain yet. But you are the key." Daniel shook his head. This was madness. He should throw her out, let the forest take her, let her hunters finish their work. But his gut told him it was true. The craft, the lights, her strange glow. This was real. He stood and walked to the window. The red lights were closer now, moving slower, scanning deeper. "They are searching for you," he said. Sira's face went pale, fear flashing in her eyes. "Then we have little time. Listen to me. If they capture me, they will use my mind to find Earth's weakness. If they capture you, they will break you apart to see why I chose you." Daniel turned sharply. "Chose me?" She lowered her head. "Yes, you are not random. I came to this world to find one man. Someone strong but not blind with pride. Someone who could hold the gift I carry. That man is you." His heart pounded. Anger and fear fought inside him. "You don't know me," he growled. "I know enough," she said quietly. "I know you are alone. I know you carry scars inside, scars your own people cannot see. I know you walk this forest at night because you do not belong anywhere else. That is why you will listen. That is why you will not let me die." Daniel froze. Her words cut too deep. She was right about everything. Before he could respond, a low hum shook the cabin walls. Outside, the red lights stopped moving. They hovered, scanning one spot in the forest. "They've found the crash site," Sira said, her voice trembling. "They will come here next." Daniel grabbed his coat and the old rifle hanging on the wall. He had not fired it in years, but it was all he had. Sira rose slowly, leaning against the bedpost. "You cannot fight them alone. But with me you have a chance." Daniel looked at her, his jaw tight. "Then tell me the truth. What is this gift you keep talking about?" Her glowing eyes burned brighter. For a moment she seemed more flame than flesh. "You will know," she said, "when the time comes." Outside, branches snapped. Heavy steps moved in the darkness. Shadows larger than men passed near the window. The hunters had arrived. Daniel tightened his grip on the rifle. His heart hammered, but his voice was steady. "Then I guess the time is now." The night outside the cabin was no longer silent. Daniel could hear them. Heavy footsteps pressing into the earth, slow and steady, like hunters who already knew their prey could not escape. The sound of metal scraping against bark. A faint hiss, almost like breathing, but deeper. Machine mixed with flesh. He raised his old rifle, hands tight around the wood, though part of him knew it would be useless. These were not men. Sira stood near the doorway, her pale face glowing faint blue. Her body still weak, but her eyes were sharp with fear and fire. She looked at Daniel. "If they find me, they will not stop. They will burn this forest. They will burn this world." Daniel's jaw clenched. He whispered, "Then we run." But even as he said it, he knew running might not be enough. The door creaked open. Cold air swept inside, carrying the smell of smoke and metal. In the distance, through the trees, he saw red lights moving closer. Scanning the ground, shadows shifted between the trunks. Sira touched his arm, light and urgent. "Follow me." I know a way, he nodded once. They slipped out the back of the cabin, moving into the darkness of the woods. The night wrapped around them like a cloak. Every step was careful, yet every sound seemed too loud. The crack of twigs, the crunch of leaves. Behind them, the hunters entered the cabin. Daniel heard the wood splinter. Heavy growls echoed, then silence. They were searching. Sierra pulled him forward, deeper into the forest. Her steps were strange, light, almost floating even in her weakened state. Daniel struggled to keep up. "Where are we going?" he whispered. "There is water ahead," she said. "They cannot track us easily there. But we must hurry." They moved faster. Daniel's breath grew heavy, but fear pushed him on. His mind raced. Who were these hunters? Why did they want her so badly? And why had she chosen him? The forest seemed endless. Branches whipped against his face. Roots tried to trip his boots. Behind them, faint red beams cut through the darkness, sweeping side to side. The hunters were close, then, snap, Daniel froze. Ahead, one of the hunters stepped into view. Its body was tall, armored, half organic, half metal. Its head glowed with a single red eye, scanning the trees. Its arm ended in a blade, sharp and black. Sierra grabbed Daniel's hand and pulled him into the bushes. They crouched low, not breathing. The hunter turned its head, the red beam slicing across the ground. For a moment, the light passed over Daniel's boot. He held still, every muscle screaming to move. Then the hunter turned away. Sierra leaned close, whispering, "They are soldiers of my people. Elite. They do not fail." Daniel swallowed hard. "Then how do we beat them?" "You cannot," she said softly. Not yet, her words sank deep, not yet. The promise of something more. They slipped away again, moving toward the river. The sound of water grew louder, rushing, tumbling over rocks. Relief touched Daniel's chest. If they could cross, maybe they could lose the hunters. But as they reached the bank, more shadows appeared. 3 hunters stepped from the trees across the water. Red eyes glowed in the dark, watching, trapped. Daniel lifted his rifle. His heart pounded. He knew it would not stop them, but he could not die without fighting. Sierra raised her hand, her palm glowing faint blue. Strange patterns of light spread from her skin, forming symbols in the air. The hunters froze, tilting their heads as if listening. Daniel stared. "What are you doing?" She did not answer. Her lips moved quickly, whispering words he could not understand. The blue light grew brighter, wrapping around her fingers. The hunters growled, blades snapping forward. One stepped into the water. Daniel fired. The old rifle cracked loud in the night. The bullet struck the hunter's shoulder, sparking against armor. It staggered, then straightened again, unharmed. "Run!" Sierra shouted. Daniel grabbed her arm. Together they turned, racing along the riverbank. Behind them, the hunters splashed through the water, heavy and fast. The chase was real now. Trees whipped past. The ground shook with each step of the hunters. Daniel's lungs burned, but fear gave him strength. Ahead, a fallen tree formed a bridge across the river. Sierra leapt onto it, light as air. Daniel followed, nearly slipping on the wet bark. The water roared below. Halfway across, one of the hunters leapt after them. The tree shook under its weight. Daniel turned, swung the rifle like a club, smashing it into the red eye. The hunter reeled, the beam flashing wild. Sierra cried out, "Faster!" They reached the far side and stumbled into the forest again. Behind them, the hunter roared, metal claws tearing the fallen tree apart. The sound of breaking wood echoed like thunder. Daniel's chest ached. His legs felt heavy, but they kept running. At last, Sierra pulled him into a hollow beneath a giant rock. They crouched inside, hidden by roots and shadows. She pressed a finger to her lips. The hunters stormed past, red lights cutting through the trees. Their growls faded slowly, moving farther away. Daniel leaned against the rock, breath ragged. Sweat dripped down his face. He looked at Sierra. You brought this to me," he whispered. Her eyes glowed faint in the dark. "No, I brought you to this." "There is a difference," Daniel frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means," she said softly, "this is only the beginning." Outside, the forest grew quiet again, but the silence felt different now. Heavy, waiting. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. His old life was gone, he knew it. The chase was not over. It had only just begun. The forest was calm again, but Daniel could not rest. He sat against the rock, rifle across his knees, his chest still rising fast from the run. His ears strained for sounds of the hunters, but only the river spoke, tumbling endlessly in the dark. Beside him, Sira watched the night with glowing eyes. She looked tired, her skin pale, yet there was no fear in her expression, only silence. At last Daniel broke it. "You said this is only the beginning," he muttered. "Beginning of what?" Sira turned her head slowly toward him. Her eyes seemed to glow brighter when she spoke. "The beginning of war. My people will not stop until your world belongs to them." Daniel gripped the rifle tighter. "Then tell me the truth. Who are you really? What are those things that chased us?" She leaned back against the rock, her voice low. "They are hunters, soldiers of the Empire I once served. They are not fully alive, not fully machines. They are built to track, to capture, to kill. They cannot be bribed, cannot be reasoned with. And if they find me, they will drag me back or burn everything to keep their secret safe." Daniel's jaw tightened. "And you? You said you betrayed them. Why?" For a long time she did not answer. Her gaze lifted toward the sky, where faint stars shone through the branches. "Because I saw what they planned to do. To Earth, to your people, to every man, woman, and child who cannot fight back." Daniel frowned. "Plan to do what?" "Enslavement," she said softly. "Your world is young, easy to break. They will take your resources, your lands, your bodies. They will turn humans into tools." The words cut deep. Daniel had seen cruelty among men, but this was different. This was larger than nations or wars. This was the end of freedom itself. He shook his head. "And why tell me this? I'm no leader. I'm no hero. I'm just a man living in the woods." Sira's gaze sharpened. "That is exactly why. You are not blind with power, not chained to a throne or command. You are free and you are strong. That is why I chose you." Her words unsettled him. "Chosen, always that word. You keep saying that," he said harshly. "Chosen for what?" She leaned forward, her glowing eyes fixed on his. "Because inside you is something my people fear. Humanity looks weak to them, but men of Earth carry a strength they cannot control. It is in your blood, in your bones. You are unpredictable. You can endure what others cannot. And if given the right gift, you can become more than even they are." Daniel stared at her. "Gift? What gift?" She raised her hand. The pale skin shimmered, faint blue lines tracing along her veins like fire beneath ice. "There is a bond, a seed of power hidden in me. It was made to serve the Empire, to create weapons of war, but I stole it. I carry it inside me still. And if I give it to you, you will never be the same again." His heart pounded. He pulled back. "You're asking me to let you change me?" "Yes," Daniel shook his head. "Why would I ever agree to that?" Her voice turned sharp. "Because without it, you will die. This planet will die. You saw the hunters tonight. That was only a taste. If you remain only human, you cannot fight them. Not today, not tomorrow. But with me—" She paused, her eyes burning into his. "With me you can." The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the river's endless song. Daniel looked away, staring into the darkness. Could he trust her? Could he trust anything she said? He had known her for hours, not days, yet already his life had been ripped apart, turned upside down. His quiet world was gone. He thought of the hunters, metal claws, red eyes, blades cutting through the night. He thought of their voices, low and inhuman. He thought of Sira's words, "This is only the beginning." Finally he spoke, voice rough. "And if I say no?" Her expression softened, almost sad. "Then you die as you are, a man. A brave man, but only a man, and your world falls." The weight of her words pressed hard against him. Before he could answer, a low rumble drifted through the forest, distant at first, then closer. Not footsteps, engines. Ships moving across the sky. The hunters were not finished. Sira's eyes flashed with urgency. "They are calling more. Soon the forest will burn." Daniel stood, gripping his rifle. His voice was steady now. "Then tell me everything. No more riddles. No more secrets. If I'm truly the one you came for, then give me the truth." She rose slowly, standing before him, taller than he expected, her glow painting the trees in faint light. "The truth," she said, "is that your world is already marked. The invasion has begun in silence. I am your warning, your guide, and your only chance. I offer you power, but once you take it, you will never again be only human." Daniel's stomach tightened. The world around him seemed to grow colder. His choice was clear but not easy. Trust her and risk becoming something else. Refuse her and risk watching Earth burn. Sierra stepped closer. Her hand hovered just above his chest, glowing softly. "Decide soon," she whispered. "Because time is running out." The rumble in the sky grew louder. The forest shook as beams of red light swept across the trees. Daniel's hands gripped his rifle so tight his knuckles turned white. He had no illusions. An old gun and courage alone could not stop what was coming. Sierra stood before him, her body glowing faintly like a flame in the dark. Her eyes never left his. "It must be now," she said. "The gift cannot wait." Daniel's jaw tightened. "And if I refuse?" "Then we die," she answered. Her words were cold, but her eyes held something softer. Fear. Not fear of death, but fear of failure. "And this world dies with us." The choice pressed against him like a stone on his chest. He had lived his life quietly, away from others, away from wars. He had wanted peace. But peace was already gone. Daniel lowered the rifle. His voice came out rough. "What do I have to do?" Sierra stepped closer, her hands trembling slightly. "I will give you part of me. It will bond to your body, to your blood. It will make you stronger, faster, more than human. But once it begins, there is no turning back. You will never again be the man you were." Daniel's breath grew heavy. "And if it kills me?" Her face turned still. "Then at least you die with a chance. Not like prey." Silence fell between them. Outside, the hunters moved closer, their growls echoing in the night. The beams of light crept through the trees like hungry eyes. Finally, Daniel nodded once. "Do it." Sierra's shoulders dropped as if she had been holding her breath. She raised her hands, palms glowing with soft blue fire. Strange symbols appeared in the air, spinning, shifting, alive with meaning he could not understand. Daniel's heart pounded. He wanted to run, to push her away, but he forced himself still. His body shook as the glow moved closer. Sierra whispered in her own tongue, a language sharp and fluid, not made for human mouths. Then she pressed her glowing palm against his chest. The world exploded. Pain surged through Daniel's body, hot and burning, like fire poured into his veins. He gasped, falling to his knees, clutching at the ground. The glow spread through him, racing across his skin in bright lines. His chest felt as if it would split apart. Sierra knelt beside him, holding his shoulders. "Breathe," she commanded. "Do not fight it, let it take you." He tried, but the pain grew worse. His vision blurred. The forest tilted and spun. Every bone screamed, every muscle tore and rebuilt itself in a storm of light. He roared, the sound half human, half something else. And then, clarity. The pain vanished, replaced by something new. Strength, his lungs filled with air like never before. His eyes opened wide and the forest came alive. He could see every leaf, every drop of dew shining in the moonlight. He could hear the heartbeat of animals hiding far away. Even the hunters, he could sense them, their metal feet pressing into the soil miles off. Daniel staggered to his feet. His body felt lighter, yet heavier at the same time, as if power coiled inside him like a storm waiting to break. He looked at his hands. Faint blue lines glowed beneath his skin, fading slowly. He was still Daniel, but not the same. Sierra watched him, her eyes steady. "It is done. The bond has taken root. You are the first of your kind." Daniel breathed hard, shaking. What am I now?" Her voice lowered. "Something my people fear. Something they cannot control. You are human, and more." He stared at her, fear and wonder mixing inside him. "You used me," he whispered. Her face softened. "No, I saved you. And through you, I saved your world. But understand, this power is not only a gift. It is a weapon. It will change how you think, how you feel. If you cannot control it, it will control you." Daniel's fists clenched. He felt the truth in her words. The power inside him was alive, restless, whispering to be used. Before he could answer, a sharp roar cut through the night. The hunters had found their trail again. Red beams lit the trees, closing in. Daniel lifted his rifle, then stopped. The weapon suddenly felt like a child's toy in his hands. He no longer needed it. Sierra placed her hand on his arm. "Now you understand," she said. "Fight and you will see." Daniel stepped forward, the new strength pulsing through his veins. Fear was still there, but beneath it was something else, an edge of hunger, the desire to meet the enemy head on. The ground shook. Shadows moved between the trees. The hunters were here. Daniel bared his teeth, voice low but steady. Then let's see what this gift can do. The forest shook. Branches rattled. The red glow of the hunters moved through the trees like a line of fire. Daniel stood tall in the shadows, his chest rising slowly. The new power hummed inside him, restless, alive. It was like holding lightning under his skin. Every sound was clear, every smell sharp. He could feel the hunters long before they appeared. Sira stayed close behind him, her pale glow faint. Her voice was calm, though her eyes showed fear. They will not stop. Kill one, and more will come. But tonight you must survive. Daniel nodded once. His rifle hung useless at his side. He didn't need it anymore. His fists felt stronger than iron. The first hunter stepped into the clearing. Tall, armored, its single red eye burning. Two more followed, blades gleaming, claws clicking against the earth. They growled in unison, a sound of machines and beasts. Daniel felt his muscles tighten. The power inside him begged to be used. His breath grew heavy. The lead hunter raised its weapon arm and charged. Daniel moved before he even thought. His body blurred, faster than his human self had ever been. The hunter swung down with a blade, but Daniel dodged, twisting aside with impossible speed. He slammed his fist into the creature's chest. The impact cracked the air like thunder. The hunter flew backward, smashing into a tree so hard the trunk split in two. Sparks burst from its armor. It tried to rise, but its red eye flickered and died. Daniel froze, staring at his own hand. He had broken the thing apart with one punch, but there was no time. The other two hunters leapt forward. One slashed across his arm, metal blade tearing through his coat but barely scratching his skin. The other swung for his head. Daniel ducked, grabbed the creature's arm, and twisted. The alien roared as its joints snapped with a screech of metal. Daniel hurled it into the ground, the earth shaking under the force. The last hunter lunged. Daniel spun and kicked. His foot struck its chest, sending it crashing into the river with a splash that sprayed high into the air. The current dragged it downstream, sparks flashing in the dark water. Silence fell. 3 hunters broken. The forest smelled of burning metal. Daniel's chest heaved. The power inside him sang wild and hot. For a moment he almost smiled. He had never felt so alive. But then, fear. The glow in his veins pulsed harder, whispering to him, more. It wanted more. His fists shook with the urge to destroy, to tear apart everything around him. He clenched his teeth, fighting it back. Sira stepped forward. You see now, she said softly. This is why I chose you. No hunter can match you now. Daniel turned to her, eyes burning faint blue. This power, it's dangerous. I can feel it. Yes, she admitted. It is alive. It will try to control you. That is why you must master it before it masters you. Before Daniel could reply, the trees lit up again. More hunters. 5 this time, moving in formation, their red eyes glowing like fire. Daniel's jaw tightened. The hunger inside him surged again. He could run. Or he could fight. He looked at Sira. Stay behind me. She shook her head. No, I fight with you. The hunters roared and charged. Daniel met them head on. He moved faster now, a blur between trees. A blade slashed for his neck. He ducked low and drove his shoulder into the hunter's chest, sending it spinning into the air. Another swung down. Daniel caught the blade with his bare hand. Sparks flew as his grip crushed the metal like paper. He ripped the weapon free and drove it through the creature's chest. Sira raised her hands, blue light spilling from her fingers. She spoke in her alien tongue, and the ground beneath the hunters glowed. One froze mid-step, trapped in glowing lines before Daniel crushed its head with one strike. The last 2 circled him, growling. Daniel felt their movements before they even attacked. He leapt high, higher than any man should, and came down hard, smashing one into the ground so deep the soil cracked. The last lunged, claws wide, but Daniel twisted and slammed his elbow into its throat, breaking it apart. And then, silence again. The forest floor was littered with broken machines, sparks rising into the night air. Daniel stood over them, chest heaving, glowing veins fading. His hands dripped with black fluid from the hunters. His face was grim, but inside him the storm still raged. He wanted to fight more. He wanted to destroy everything. He staggered back, gripping his head. It's too strong, he gasped. It's inside me. It wants to take over. Sira caught his arm, her voice sharp. Listen to me. Control it, Daniel. You are stronger than the gift. Do not let it turn you into what they are. He looked at her, eyes glowing faint blue. And if I can't? She held his gaze. Then you become the very monster you fear. Daniel's chest rose and fell. Slowly he forced the power back, burying it deep inside. The glow dimmed, though it never fully left. The night grew quiet again. Only the river spoke. Syrah's voice softened. You fought well, but this is only the first wave. More will come. The Empire will not stop. Now they know where we are. Daniel stared at the broken hunters. His voice was low, heavy. Then let them come. But inside he was not sure if he feared the enemy more, or the new self growing inside him. The forest was silent again, but silence no longer felt safe. Broken hunters lay scattered across the ground, their bodies sparking in the dark. The smell of smoke and metal hung heavy in the air. Daniel stood among them, his chest rising slow and steady. His fists still glowed faint blue, though the light was fading. Inside him, the power hummed like a beast locked in a cage. Syrah stepped closer, her pale face calm but watchful. You see now, she whispered. You are more than they ever feared. You can fight them. You can win. Daniel did not answer at once. His eyes scanned the trees, the river, the sky above. He could still feel the Empire's presence. Ships, soldiers, whole armies waiting out there among the stars. This was only a small taste. The real storm was yet to come. Finally, he turned to her. His voice was low, heavy with doubt. But at what cost? You saw what happened. I nearly lost control. This thing inside me, it doesn't just make me stronger. It wants me to destroy. It wants me to become like them. Syrah's eyes softened. She stepped closer, placing her hand gently on his arm. The gift is dangerous, yes. It was made for war. But that is why I chose you, Daniel. Not because you are the strongest, but because you carry something greater. He frowned. What's that? Choice, she said simply. My people build machines to obey, soldiers to kill without thought. But you can choose. You can fight not only them, but yourself. That is what they fear most. Daniel looked down at her hand, then back at her glowing eyes. Her words stirred something deep inside him, but also fear. Why me, though? He asked. There are millions of others. Why come all this way for a man living alone in the woods? Syrah's gaze lingered on him. Her voice grew softer. Because you have nothing to lose, and everything to protect. You live in silence, but your silence is strength. You carry scars, but do not run from them. You are not blinded by greed or pride. When I searched this world, I saw leaders, soldiers, kings, but they were all already slaves to power. You were free, her words struck deep. Daniel clenched his fists. He wanted to argue, but he couldn't. She was right. Above them, thunder rolled. No storm clouds, ships. Somewhere in the night sky, the Empire was moving. The glow of distant lights flickered between the stars. Daniel breathed hard. So what now? We hide, we fight? Or do we just wait for them to burn the world? Syrah stepped back. Now comes the choice. I can stay here with you. I can guide you, teach you, make you stronger until the day comes when we fight them together. Or you can send me away. If you do, they may not find you again. You can return to your silence, your forest, your lonely life. And the world will fall without ever knowing what it could have had. Daniel's chest tightened. She was giving him a future and a burden. The power inside him pulsed again, whispering to fight, to destroy. He closed his eyes, forcing it down. The decision was heavier than any war he had fought. When he opened his eyes, Syrah was watching him. Her voice trembled now, though she tried to hide it. Let me stay here, Daniel. I can give you what no white woman ever could. Not beauty, not comfort, not peace, but power, knowledge, a chance to save your people. Let me stay, and I will give you everything. The words hung in the air, the same words she had spoken when they first met. Now he understood. It was never about desire. It was about survival. About a bond between two worlds. Daniel stepped closer, his face hard, his eyes glowing faint blue. For a long moment he said nothing. The night pressed in, waiting for his answer. Finally, his voice cut through the silence. Then stay. But on my terms. Syrah tilted her head, her eyes narrowing slightly. And what are your terms? That this power doesn't own me, Daniel said firmly. That I fight for my people, not to become a monster. And if I lose myself, you end it. No hesitation. Syrah studied him. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she nodded slowly. Agreed. The ground shook. Far in the distance, red beams cut across the horizon. The Empire's search was spreading wider, closer. Daniel tightened his fists. His voice was steady now, clear. Then it begins. They want a war? They'll find one here. Sierra's lips curved into the faintest smile. Then let us prepare, human. The forest around them grew dark again, but the silence was alive with tension. Above, the stars watched, and somewhere beyond them the Empire stirred. Daniel stood in the clearing, a man no longer only human, yet not a monster, a man who had made his choice. The fate of Earth now rested on his shoulders. And as the blue glow faded slowly from his veins, he whispered to the night, more to himself than anyone else. Let them come.